Hello, happy Halloween! I thought I'd put out a video today and share a spooky paranormal story that happened to me. But I've got my lovely little skeleton earrings on today that make really nice sounds. And yeah, so I know I've been a little MIA recently, and that is because I am a jeweler. That is one of my full-time jobs, and starting around like the end of August, early September is when it starts to get really busy for me, and I just haven't had the mental energy or time to sit down and plan and record a video, but I thought kind of an informal story time might be nice. So if you'd like to check out my jewelry, I have my website in the description. But let's get started. So let me start by saying, one, I am somebody who is very prone to experiencing paranormal activity and have always been since a very young age. It's not something that I've chased after, it just kind of happens to me. And I will also say that I am definitely a very intuitive, connected person. Again, not really by choice, but definitely starting to explore what that means and see how deep that goes. But yeah, it's been interesting, and I always feel like when I do experience a paranormal situation that it's going to be the last time I experience something like that. I don't know why, but it always happens again. So and then the second thing I'll say is that where we were living when this happened was a very notoriously haunted area of town. It was in Colorado, where there's a lot of mass graves, and I'm sure, I don't know if our building specifically was built on top of a mass grave, but that area in general, I'm sure there's plenty of reasons for spiritual unrest. We moved into this townhouse after college, and I was living with my friend Sarah and this guy Sawyer, who we met off of Craigslist. The townhouse was 3 stories, so the main floor had the kitchen and the living room. Upstairs was my bedroom and Sawyer's bedroom, and then downstairs in the basement was Sarah's bedroom. Ever since we moved in to that townhouse, I always felt like I was being watched in the living room. Just felt like there was an energy there. I was just never alone. But it didn't feel bad. It was just there. I brushed it off. I was like, you can stay. Have some popcorn. And over the course of like a week, I'd say maybe halfway through our lease term, there was a series of events that happened that were really weird. And it started off by me coming home and going upstairs, and I have this little like analog alarm clock next to my bed. And I sat down on my bed and I looked like out my bedroom door, and on the stair banister was my alarm clock. And I was like, that's weird. Sawyer doesn't know me well enough to come and like borrow my alarm clock. I texted Sarah and I said, did you borrow my clock? And she said, no, why would I do that? And I was like, that's weird. But we're just gonna put that back. Like the next morning, Sarah missed work because her phone that had been charging overnight and was her alarm charger in her phone had been ripped out of the wall and like across the room, like thrown across the room, and so her phone died and the alarm never went off. So at this point I'm like, okay, so clearly we don't like time. Not sure what that's about, but we all have our qualms. And again, was kind of like, that's really weird. I don't know what to do with it. We're just gonna let it be. Then, and this is the weirdest part, and this is also a part where even as I retell it, it's hard for me to really like accept that that happened and understand that that happened and that it was real. And I will also say that I am not somebody who has any severe mental health situations going on. I do suffer from a bit of anxiety and depression from time to time. Nothing extreme, especially in the way of any sort of personality disorder. So what happened is very out of character for me, is what I'm trying to say. I was sitting at our dining room table eating dinner, and Sarah was at the other end of the table on her laptop. I'll also say that I was not high during this time. All of a sudden, I'm just sitting there eating my pasta, and I get the longest tunnel vision. The vantage point and the part of clarity is so small at the end, just like so far away. And I start to have this conversation with myself, but like another part of myself. It might not have even been myself, honestly. I was completely unaware of anything else happening in the room. And this conversation was one voice saying, like, we don't need to stay in this realm, like, come up into this other realm, leave this earth, you don't need to be here, whatever, like trying to coax me to leave earth. And I was like, excuse me, I just made this dinner for myself. I would like to stay and eat it. I don't need to leave. I don't need to ascend anywhere. It felt like it was happening for like 5 minutes at least, and finally I snapped out of it, and I just stared at Sarah, and she was like, yo, you look like you just saw a ghost. And I started crying because it was just terrifying and really weird. I asked her, like, was I just spacing out? She's like, yeah. I was like, how long was that happening for? She's like, I don't know, like 5 seconds. And it just, my experience was so different from that. And like I said, I just felt like I was in that state for at least 5 minutes. I was really confused and concerned, and what really confirmed that it was some sort of energetic attachment was that the following day I was having thoughts that were not my own. They were very, very depressed and sad and just terrible things, and I've never in my life ever experienced that before. I decided that it was time to let that spirit go, so I lit up some sage, told it that it was not welcome here and that it was not allowed to attach to me, and that it needed to go. Thankfully, after that, it worked. I never felt like I was being watched ever again in our apartment, and it felt very peaceful after that, actually. Just got a little bit of goosebumps. That was weird. But yeah, I have plenty of other stories to share, but I would love to hear if anybody else has experienced something paranormal. Go ahead and leave them in the comments. I love hearing other people's stories, and some of my favorite podcasts are paranormal podcasts. It's kind of addicting and weird, and I love it. I hope you enjoyed that story time. Like I said, I'm looking forward to recording some more videos for you all, and probably will still be a little MIA until the end of the year, since holiday season is now in full swing. Thank you for your support, and if you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed any of my other videos, please like and subscribe. It means the world. Okay, have a safe and spooky Halloween.